everyone, and welcome to a Wind Down Wednesday. I apologize in advance and in perpetuity for any technical difficulties we may experience from my end or what things sound like at this point in time. Greetings from Texas. If you thought us losing power and getting frozen out during the coldest time ever in the history of the state was bad, wait until you visit and try to use the internet here. It's a lot of fun. It's really great when Courtney over in New Orleans can text and ask if they have internet here. So that's how my day is going. Hi, everybody in the chat, everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch. Welcome to another Wind Down Wednesday. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. But first, let's catch up and say hi to Courtney. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing well. I feel like Keeli's internet problems are just indicative of these little annoyances that we've been going through recently.
Just went ahead and grabbed the whole handle.
Yeah, the whole handle. It's spring in New Orleans for sure, hence the glasses, contacts, and pollen. We're not jiving tonight. But here we are. And I have to say, I have been exhausted. Work's just been very busy for me. And every Wednesday afternoon, I'm like, I got to power through to the stream. And as soon as I hear a little doot-doot-doot-a-loop music, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And I get this like second wind because I'm so excited to talk about all things Disney with y'all tonight.
And it's so, we've been kind of like working through a couple of different things and trying to find news where we can find it or latest announcements or things that are really appealing to us. But finally, we got to the shareholders call, which happened yesterday. And it's crazy to think, I listened in with Ryan Teets yesterday. And so we could hear everything that was going on and kind of get a feel for everything. And, it was really both the Bobs, Bob Iger and Bob Chapek, really did touch on what a year it has been. If we think about what the world was like a year ago today, I don't think any of us could have imagined it. And like they said yesterday, a year ago yesterday, they were all in one big venue in North Carolina, I believe, having their normal traditional shareholders meeting where you got to see videos and you got to see everybody on stage. And this time around, it's gone the way of lots of the earning calls and different things like that. And it was completely different, but I think it's in a way that most of us have adjusted to. Getting together in person for stuff like that is great, but anyone who works is also probably thankful that we've learned over the past year that a lot of things that used to be a meeting can now be an email. So if there's a bonus that we've learned in the pandemic, it's that. But we did learn a lot of things from the shareholders call. I'll start. The first thing is that Bob Iger is officially leaving the company at the end of the year. He'd stepped down as CEO and had moved over to being chairman of the board, but was saying he was leaving the company eventually, and that will happen at the end of this year. So we've got that news. And here's Ryan is in the chat. Hi, Teets. I'm sure he's going to chime in and correct us on a whole bunch of things, but not too much to say for tomorrow because Teets and I will be doing a happiest hour on YouTube and Twitch tomorrow to talk more about the news. So what is the most exciting thing you heard from the shareholders call yesterday, Courtney?
Probably the announcement of the new attraction that we've all been waiting for. Ratatouille will officially open on October 1st, on the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World opening. So thanks to Keeli's fast fingers and Twitter watching, we actually got park passes for Magic Kingdom. And with that announcement, looks like we'll be doing a park hopping on October 1st from Magic Kingdom to Epcot and probably waiting in line all day, waiting in line to get in Magic Kingdom and then waiting in line for Ratatouille. But that's okay. If that's all we do that day, that'll be pretty exciting for me to spend the 50th anniversary in Magic Kingdom, where it all started in Florida, and then go ride their newest attraction. I'm super excited about.
And, just to double down, then I got us Epcot on the 2nd, so we can kind of hopefully get to experience Remy, and I'm waiting to see. So the crepe restaurant I thought was going to be quick service, but apparently it's table service.
I was under the impression it was quick service too. So that is shocking.
And so we're going to need to be watching for that so we can make an ADR, because who loves French food? This gal. So, and I love crepes even more.
Crepes seem like such a snack. Maybe I don't eat enough crepes, but such a snack food. Like, I can't imagine sitting down at a restaurant for crepes. I don't know. Quick and table.
Okay, so Ryan says it's going to be quick and table service. Well, I guess we'll just have to, in the name of science, we'll have to try out both of them.
Research.
Both offerings.
Yeah.
Crepes are great. I'm excited to see you try like a bunch of them, and you will see how filling they are.
Oh,
this reminds me of but just not as a meal.
Right. But look, I love pancakes. I love crepes. I love all things that go into crepes: crab meat, brie, Nutella, bananas, whatever,
strawberries, chocolate,
all the things.
The only way I'll eat a banana is in a crepe. So
with Nutella. Yum,
with
yum.
Nutella, yes. So I'm a little bit. I am. All of these announcements is going to be your Keels. Why are you both siding this? Like both siding everything. I am excited that we have a date. I'm a little bit disappointed that it won't be up and running, at least in previews or soft opening or anything like that, when we're there in April, because I feel like it would be something fun to look for, something new, something timely. But Courtney made a really, really great point right before we went live on stream. And we're not quite sure what the queue area would look like and where Rat is located, and with the social distancing and all of that. I don't know where you would stretch where you would put a really, really lengthy, what we assume to be lengthy opening day, opening month queue for Ratatouille, with Flower and Garden going on, with still what's remnants of construction in the backstage area. I mean, but that's assuming that it is going to be a line, and they're not going to do things like boarding passes, like with Rise of the Resistance.
Right, which is totally possible. But I mean, when Flight of Passage opened, that line stretched as far as the social distance line now stretches for months. And I mean, I know that I don't know that Ratatouille is going to be on that level in terms of people wanting to ride, but who knows? Maybe. I mean, people are itching to do anything these days, so I don't know. It'll be interesting. I mean, right now, China is basically a queue for Frozen, and that ride's been open for how long? Forever.
After.
Yeah.
Forever after. And so I can see the boarding pass thing, because I think also people who have been going to Rat does have a good hourly capacity. Chimes in Ryan. I can see people who are currently going and visiting Disney since the pandemic, and since it reopened in the pandemic, you are kind of conditioned to know how it works to get Rise of the Resistance now. So I don't think it's going to be a real surprise to anyone that you're going to have to, maybe if Fast Pass doesn't come back, you're going to have to play by, Disney and Epcot's rules on when you can be in the park to get, a boarding pass, or, they could call like a dining reservation or something like that, a tour time for Remy's. But the other thing that to go back to, you talked about Flight of Passage. I remember when Flight of Passage was being built, and it was one of the things that they talked about, even on like news shows like Good Morning America and stuff like that, was the craziest thing about Flight of Passage was it was built with a queue that could handle like a 6.5 hour wait. And I'm pretty sure both Smuggler's Run and Rise of the Resistance were built with that kind of weight capacity in mind. So I'm really curious to see what they did for Remy's, whatever it's called, Great Rat Adventure or whatnot. But because it just looks the footprint for what the show building takes up and how far it's set back, and it's going to have the restaurant or the quick service table service restaurant right there. It doesn't seem like it would have a footprint big enough to host over, maybe a couple of hours in queue for a wait. So that's going to be really interesting to see. And maybe I can get Ryan to start doing some digging. It's something we can talk a little bit tomorrow on Happiest Hour. But I am happy that we finally have a date. The one other thing that I was hoping we would get a date out of at the shareholders call that we didn't is Harmonious. So I'm a little concerned about that, given how it seems like all of the taco barges are in place and they've been doing testing. I even saw on Twitter someone from their hotel room at either Boardwalk or Beach Club, or maybe it was Swan and Dolphin, saw the fountains from a distance before the park opened the other day. So they were testing all the fountains in the morning before Epcot opened. So I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get a Harmonious date.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I really, really miss nighttime shows. Really miss that on our February trip. It's just such a way to cap off the night. I mean, when we go with our friends and family, especially on our Mardi Gras trips, we are there park open to park close. And it's just like, that's just how the night is capped off. So that's a huge piece that's missing for me. And to have no indication of when Harmonious is going to open or when any of the other nighttime spectaculars are coming back is really sad. And I don't know, especially as other things are reopening and as vaccines are going up and positive cases are going down, you just I don't know, I just have this feeling of hopefulness, and I'm still hopeful for so much. And just waiting for a lot of these other pieces to kind of fall into place.
And it's, I was looking at a bunch of different stuff for maybe fall, or even if we did like an on a whim late summer trip, just, once things open up a little bit more, and just like going through and looking at, some of the closed food options at resorts. I know we all miss some of the signatures like Jico and Yachtsman Steakhouse and things like that. But there are even some lounges or just quick services at resorts that I kind of miss. I'm like, oh, that was a fun place to stop over when I'm passing through or going to go look at something. Like, I really miss Cruise Cup at Yacht Club.
Yeah.
I love those little sliders. I love the scene of it. I really miss that. And so it's just I'm being patient. I'm being patient as humanly possible for someone that is not patient at all. It's just not a virtue for me that I was ever granted. So,
and on top of things just not being open, on top of not having some of those favorite places even open, on a normal night, I am in bed by 9:30. I get up at 4:45 to go to the gym. But when I know I'm crazy. But I need my 7-8 hours every night.
You will fit right in with Angela and Leslie on the April trip because those girls are up ready to go at 4:30. Right. Angela will get up at 4:30 and she'll pace around and try and be quiet, use the restroom, wash her face, start getting ready for the day, or quietly preparing. But it's she gives you until 5 or 5:15, and that's when the coffee pot goes on. And at 5:30, that's it. The curtains are open, whatever daylight is available. See, even little dog had to live with Angela for 10 days. That's why she ran away, because the day starts at 4:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in preparation for that during the normal week, I truly go to bed at 9:30. I'm such a grandma. But at Disney, I will stay up. I'll sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. I'll stay up, and everything closed at 10 in February. I couldn't even stay out in Disney Springs till midnight. And I know I sound like I know we're in the middle of a pandemic. Like, I know we should be lucky that it's even open, but I don't know. Sometimes this taste of normalcy hurts.
It's like right there and you're so close.
I know.
But it's just, you can't reach. You can reach out and touch it. Well, especially for you on your Mardi Gras trip, because you were staying at Saratoga Springs, so it's so
right there.
You're right there. So yeah, I completely agree with that. And so that's why I've got some fun things. So yeah, for my birthday trip in a few weeks, we're all staying in a big villa together. So I have a couple of fun things planned for us to do after hours back in the room all together to keep us entertained and have some fun before we go to bed to get ready for the next big day all of the eating and drinking that we're going to do and snacking.
Has Ryan started that Excel sheet yet?
Yeah, no, I need to ask him about that because it's getting time where we need to start making a plan. Who's going to share what? How are we going to crush our flower and garden goals? Because we also have to work in how that's going to work in the rules of drinking around the world. Which I did find the one good thing that I did find in my packing for move. I'm going to block my camera for just a second. Hold on.
Sounds good. In case this is your first time tuning in, Keeli's turning 21 again. And we are headed to Walt Disney World. Members of the Crescent Lake Club are headed there in just a few short weeks, right after Easter. Oh my goodness, what is this? A Drinking Around the World medal. Oh my goodness, 2019. What is this from?
So that is from Marathon Weekend 2019. And Teet says he's working on the spreadsheet tonight, and I will crack the whip on him. He and Whitty, they have been talking about it. So that's good. 2019 Marathon Weekend. Teets was there. Whitty was there. I've got pictures. I'll share on Sunday pictures. We had, I want to say, a group of, there had to have been close to 50 of us because I think I ordered 50 or 60 medals and I only had a couple left over. I made lanyards. We all checked off our drinks, and everyone who made it back to Refreshment Port by Canada with a completed lanyard received a medal.
A medal. Incredible.
And for some people who'd done the Dopey Challenge that weekend, this was still their favorite medal of the weekend.
Keeli knows how to put on a party, put on an event, and I have no doubt that was a lot of fun had by all.
Oh my gosh, we have a picture. We found a PhotoPass photographer that got us all together. This photographer was fantastic, herded cats, and got us all together in a perfect shot with Germany in the background. It was outstanding. It was such a fun day. The weather was perfect. We learned a lot of lessons about how to do group drinking around the world as a big group. And it was just great. Drinking around the world, especially during Marathon Weekend, it's one of my favorite things. It's something that a run friend and I started doing, I want to say Marathon Weekend 2016. And everyone has just tried to keep it going every year, just with the same group of people that we all get together and do Marathon Weekend together. So that's one of the real highlights. But if you thought the medals were great, just wait until you see what I have for all the Crescent Lake Club members that complete Drinking Around the World during Keels-a-Palooza.
Keels-a-Palooza.
It's amazing.
Love it. Love it.
This is the one secret I have not. I'm terrible with secrets too. Again, I told you guys about patience. So I usually spread them out and tell them to different people. So at least I get to tell one person. So someone knows and can tell me, okay, this is really dumb, or everyone is surprised. But this is the one that I haven't told anybody about, and it's killing me. But as Courtney gives us the daily countdown to the trip, I get more and more excited that I haven't said anything about it or told anyone or even opened the box. It's really great that I'm out of town and I'm not next to the box, so I can't just.
I'm assuming this is not one of the things being shipped to my house.
No, it is not. It's already at my house. I think I ordered it in January. I think I ordered it when we first started talking about this whole trip. So I'm very excited about that. But speaking of trips and trips we are talking about, I know it's a running joke. We'll see if it comes to fruition, but also in the shareholders call, we heard some mumbles about it from the state of California, and that they were revising some of their gating criteria for things such as theme parks like Disney to open and at what kind of capacity they can open at. And we know that Disney is already committed to doing this, or Disneyland in California is already committed to doing this really cool food festival called A Touch of Disney through April. Well, if Anaheim and Orange County meets a certain level of the gating criteria, it appears that there are different levels that Disneyland can open to for guests in capacity, which the highest available level will be them opening at 35% capacity. And just given the data we're seeing and what it looks like, Disney is moving full steam ahead. They've already started recalling some of, like, what did they say? Over 10,000 something cast members back from furlough to prepare for not only this Touch of Disney food festival, but getting Grand Californian is back. If it's not already back open, it's about to be back open on the DVC side for guests to stay there. You can still shop at Downtown Disney, but it looks like at the end of April, we are going to have limited capacity open back at both Disneyland and Disneyland California Adventure. And if the rumors are to be believed, it looks like in the first week of May, we are going to have the return of the Disneyland Hotel and the Paradise Pier Hotel, along with the cash non-DVC guest rooms at the Grand Californian. I'm excited about that because
I figured that's the one you're most excited about.
I'm really excited. And so that's when I texted Courtney. I'm like, okay, when are we going to Disneyland? And she's like,
I know.
The kids are in camp too. I'm like, all right, let's go. So
let's start looking for flights. Yeah.
I know. So I'm really excited. I think Disneyland, and maybe it's just because I haven't been as much. I always go to Florida. I grew up in Florida, but there's just something that's so special about Disneyland from the time you walk through the gate on Main Street and you see Walt's apartment and actually know that that was his actual apartment, to the teeny tiny cutest castle in the whole wide world. And, some of the original rides are still there, like Mr. Toad and all of that. Yeah. And then you get to go to California Adventure, and probably I'm not a Star Wars fan, so don't at me on this one, but probably the most immersive themed land for me is Radiator Springs from Cars. I could hang out in Cars Land all day, park open to park close, and just be so happy. The vibe is so cool. I'm always noticing some little cool detail there, but it's really great. And I know, we've got our West Coast correspondent, Marcus, who got tickets to a taste or a touch of Disney, whatever they're calling it. He'll be going to that. And I know he's already making plans and is going to do his darndest to get to Disneyland on opening day. So I'm really excited for all of our West Coast Disneyland loving friends, because it's not cheap to go from West Coast to East Coast to go to Disney World, and they've been missing Disney just like we have too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm excited. I have never been to Disneyland. It's definitely a huge bucket list item. We talked about going this year for my husband and I's 10th wedding anniversary. He's a little bit leery about spending that much time and money if restrictions are still what they are. Which I get that, because it is a lot of time for us to get out there. It's like a 4-hour flight and 3 time zones, plus the hefty price tag to get out there. So I don't know when we'll do it. Maybe Keely and I'll pop over there this summer. Who knows? But just like you said, excited that they're open or on that path, and super excited for the fans out, especially out in California, to be able to experience it back, have it back. And again, it's yet one more thing coming back to normal, because California has certainly been behind us in Louisiana and Florida in terms of opening things up, for sure. Which is not, that's to be expected, but I'm
Well,
sure that's
and
a
then,
relief for them just to be there, that's even a possibility.
absolutely. And, if Disneyland is something you're interested in, it's another fun planning experience that Courtney and I and everyone else at the Crescent Lake Club can help you guys with, because it's not so much the Disney bubble like Walt Disney World is. There's a lot of branded offsite hotels that still offer the same kind of perks at a way reduced cost than the 3 on-site hotels, that still can afford you partner perks like early entry if that comes back and stuff like that. I always actually stay at the Fairfield Inn on Harbor, right across from Disneyland. And from my room, I've always been able to see the monorail and Space Mountain and Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. And it's cool because the pool is in the front by Harbor Boulevard facing Disneyland. So there have been nights that I've just gone back to the room and I grab a drink and I go down and I'm in the pool cooling off and I can just see the Disneyland fireworks right above me. So it's not the same bubble, but it's still a really cool, magical, immersive experience. Yeah. And I think other than Marcus, Whitty and I are the only ones that have been to Disneyland. So I can't wait for all of the Crescent Lake Club to go and explore.
And even though I haven't been, I have studied it and looked at pictures and watched videos that I feel like I've been there. I once, like during COVID, during pregnancy, I had a dream that I was there. Like I had a dream that I was eating at the Cozy Cone. It was one of these weird hormonal pregnancy dreams. And like I said, never been there, but in my dream, I would have sworn that I was there. So that dream just has to become reality.
The Cozy Cone is your jam because it's popcorn and it's soda. So there you go. Mm-hmm. So we got that, and we got the third kind of big announcement I feel like we got was about Disney Cruise Line. And we got one direct announcement that the newest, yes, COVID took, save it for tomorrow, Teets, for just personally affronted Teets. You're going to get all of that tomorrow on Happiest Hour. Teets is going to.
It's probably going to be the saddest hour. It's probably going to be the angriest hour.
It's going to be, he's going to go through all of the inside out. He's going to go through all of the inside out emotions. I'm going to make him, that's what I should do. He should each category. I want him to do one: anger, fear, disgust. Start working on that. I'll send you a run sheet later. Yeah. So
he just holds up like they do in kindergarten. Yeah. Like, I'm feeling green.
Flash a picture. I'm like, here you go. So Disney Cruise Line, we got one official announcement, is that the newest ship will be joining the fleet next year, 2022. We don't have an exact sailing date or routes that it will be taking. I have some thoughts on that. But in one of the follow-up questions on the shareholders call, someone did ask Bob Chapek when Disney is currently expecting sailing to begin or to resume for some, not all, of the Disney Cruise Line itineraries and ships. And he said they were optimistic for fall. I can't remember if he said early fall or late fall, but he most definitely said fall 2021. We know that Alaska is off the table because Canada has said no. We know this. We're basically just waiting for World Health Organization guidelines and CDC guidelines. But I've been listening into a bunch of calls and different planning things with cruising owners and different things like that to kind of get a handle on what the cruise experience and what the cruising industry is looking for and planning for when it comes to cruises restarting. And I think having the manager or having the CEO of a major cruise fleet publicly state that they're optimistic that it's going to be fall of 2021. I'm not going to rush out and book one, pay in full or anything like that, clear my schedule for it. But it's certainly, if that's something that you guys are optimistic for, I would feel, 60, 40, 70, 30 chance of it happening probably September on. I also think if that's something you're looking for, it's going to be almost exclusively out of Port Canaveral. So that means just the Dream and the Fantasy And it's likely it is just going to be itineraries that feature a private island and another domestic stop. So like Key West, maybe Nassau, but I imagine it's going to be just Key West and it's going to be closed loop. So I would keep an eye on those kind of itineraries. What I'm really excited to see is what they end up doing with the new ship when the new ship comes into market, what they do with some of these smaller ships, especially those two little guys, the OG ships that are based out of Miami. And I know one city that two members of the Crescent Lake Club may reside in are a seasonal home port for a Disney ship. And oh, by the way, have a big port expansion finishing up, a cruise port finishing up in 2022. So I'm hoping that we get a more permanent spot for one of the OG ships, either the Wonder. That's the one that usually goes out of New Orleans and Galveston is the Wonder. One of the smaller ones.
Yeah.
The Dream and the Fantasy are the bigger guys. The Wonder and the Magic are the OG ones, and the Wish is the brand new one.
How incredible / dangerous for our pocketbooks would that be if there's a Disney cruise out of New Orleans on a regular basis? If they gave like Louisiana resident discounts.
Am I also is it gonna come with a family law attorney to handle my divorce?
I know some people.
Okay, good. Can I just live on the ship?
Right.
Because that's what it's going to come down to. But no, so I'm really optimistic about that. I've heard some rumors about Carnival and Royal Caribbean kind of looking at the same time frame. And it's mostly going to be anywhere between 3 and 5 days, largely domestic only, closed loops. And it's going to be itineraries that only include domestic stops, though you do have to make a stop somewhere else for ships that are registered outside of the United States have to make a stop somewhere else. But generally, the private islands will meet that requirement. And there was even talks early in the pandemic that to get the cruise industry back up and running, that some of these cruise lines that have private islands right next to each other would kind of partner with each other to double dip on private islands. So you say Norwegian would stop one day on their private island, and the next day they would stop at Royal Caribbean's private island and just kind of share the wealth a little bit just to get people back out there. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of that.
Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible? I think it's highly possible, highly likely that you have to show some proof of COVID vaccination prior to boarding.
I think that is almost certain that you will have to show some form of vaccination. Let's go 75% on that. You will 100% have to be COVID tested. That's already in the CLIA documents, and everyone is saying you're going to have to be COVID tested before you check in and board the ship. You're going to have to be COVID tested when you're on the ship, and you're going to have to be COVID tested when you leave the ship, and you either get to go home or you go to quarantine. And it's up to the port destination if they choose to have people COVID test, or if they're just going to do temperature checks, or what they're going to do to allow you into port. Right now, for a lot of places, I don't foresee some of the islands like Jamaica and stuff like Nassau really forcing the issue. I think they're just going to be fine with the temperature check in and out. I think the biggest thing you're going to see, they need some cash. But what you are going to see, and I think that's going to make cruisers like me that tend to try and plan and find something a little more off the beaten path. I think if you are planning a cruise from whenever cruises start in fall of 2021 for at least one calendar year, you need to be prepared for all excursions will have to be purchased and operated by the cruise line, so they can also control social distancing, where you go, who you interact with, different things like that, and make sure that when you return to the ship that you've been in the safest possible environment from COVID.
Yeah. So just like
So,
Disney opening and whenever
that
Disneyland
kind of stinks,
reopens,
but
this, yeah. I was saying, just like the parks reopening, this is not going to be, Disney Cruise Line sets sail September 25th, 2021, and we are back to just how things were in January of 2020. There's going to be things that are different. So you can't hope to get on a cruise ship and have it be exactly as you remember. There's going to be reduced capacity. There's going to be testing and or vaccination requirements. And like Keely said, there's going to be all these other things that are different. And so you just have to take that into account when booking. And as we know more of what those things are, we'll certainly share that with you and wax poetic on what we think that will mean for the cruise and how that'll affect your vacation. But I do love a cruise, and I'm excited to get back on a ship sooner rather than later.
Yeah, for me, I just want to go on a cruise to get out on the water and just experience it. I think some of the obvious things, other than just the testing and protocols, your buffet is not going to be the same. It's going to, and that's the one thing where, I feel like Disney and maybe Carnival does it too, may have a little bit of an advantage over some of the other traditional lines where the buffet for dinner is no longer a true buffet. It's a themed sit-down menu order dinner. So they've already been able to adapt to that.
Right.
They'll be able to adapt to that dining space becoming just a full sit-down meal. Another thing is, I think we're used to seeing, if capacity is not reduced on the overall ship, I think you may see 3 dining times to try and space people out or give shorter dining periods, since you won't have entertainment characters coming around and a lot of the bits you used to see on cruises, just to give them enough time for people to eat, but then also for them to clean down the whole area, reset, even more than just the traditional changing out of linens and things like that. Really give it a good once over. For Disney, I'm going to be honest, the perks of a Disney cruise probably aren't going to be there. It's going to be a lot of see Captain Mickey from afar, but not go up and get the hug and take the normal picture. The biggest question is going to be entertainment. I mean,
But I mean, any of the stage shows, I think, I don't know. I feel like those might come back. With spaced out seating in the theater. Maybe this is just my own ignorance, but if all of the performers are able to be vaccinated, I don't see why a show on a stage further back, even if passengers aren't required to be vaccinated. Again, my own ignorance. I do not work for the CDC, the World Health Organization. None of that. I don't know. But why couldn't they perform with audience members seated out in the audience?
Well, yeah. And I think especially if the ventilation is up to check to what they need it to be. And I think if you just block out those first 3 rows and you just do an additional 6 feet from where the end of the proscenium of the stage is to where the first row of people will be, then absolutely, I don't see why you couldn't. I imagine that, most cruise lines are going to go out of their way to make sure that all of the crew on the ship is vaccinated as soon as possible.
Right.
And this Johnson & Johnson one-shot vaccine really helps make that possible. So,
right.
I know I haven't read too much into the relief bill that just got passed today, but I know that there were provisions in it that helps the airline industry. I've been watching a lot of flight attendant YouTube videos, so I know they were all kind of waiting to see if the bill would get passed and if they get called back from furlough, or if something happened and that got taken out of the bill, they were just going to be terminated, or they were going to be laid off. So may look deeper into that and see what other kind of travel industry help there might be. So, I think everything is always going to be in flux. Obviously, like Bob Chapek said, they're going to take a lot of the things that they've learned in the parks as far as safety protocols and mitigation efforts and apply that directly to the cruise line. There are ways to do this. We only hear about cruises when they come down with norovirus.
Right.
So you just hear about it when it happens. You don't hear about all the cruises where norovirus doesn't happen. And I think, there's ways you can do the same thing, to prevent COVID from spreading around his ship. The easiest thing is to make sure that everyone is vaccinated and wears a mask in common areas.
Yeah.
That's just the easiest thing to do. But anyway, so that's what we got was fall of 2021. So we'll be watching that one just along with the dates for Disneyland. I think the last thing that Teet sent me was it looks like April 28th, 29th is kind of the rumored opening for Disneyland, which that would be a Wednesday or a Thursday. So kind of in line. Was there anything that you, other than Harmonious, we talked about that. Was there anything you were hoping to hear about from the shareholders call that didn't get touched on?
Maybe this is just selfish because I have some people traveling or who want to travel. But I do wonder if and when capacity is going to increase in the Florida parks. If you follow any Disney social media, you see that all of next week is grayed out, meaning that all of the park passes are sold out for every category on some days. So for annual pass holders, for Disney property guests, and for ticket holders. So just if you buy a day ticket or whatever. So that means if you don't already have a reservation to get into a Disney park next week and you want to go, you're out of luck. And for
even on CNN today too, they're like the CDC saying don't travel, but Disney is fully booked for spring break, and it's just like, oh.
Right.
I feel like, I know hotels, I just happen to take a peek just because it's something I kind of like to do and just goof around a bit and see like what pops up. Like you kind of see if people cancel last minute, what shows up. And it's so spare, very spare. We're even looking, Woody has a client that would like to go at Thanksgiving, and not having two of the All-Stars and none of the Port Orleans, I think really, really hurt too in trying to be able to meet guest satisfaction for hotels and bookings and things like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm just worried it's going to be
rough.
In April. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see when that all, if and when that starts opening up more, if they start shuffling around availability, because while next week is pretty booked for everyone, for annual pass holders, like you go into April and annual pass holders have complete open availability, and hotel guests and theme park tickets don't. There's already some grayed out days in April. I don't know.
I think
as an annual pass holder, like I appreciate that it's greened out, and I know that pass holders can only make 3 days worth of tickets, but also those that are traveling and paying to stay at a resort hotel, I don't know. I also can understand their frustration that pass holders have availability when they don't.
So I think I went back and I looked at some blog items from around Christmas and New Year's, and it seemed like about a week to 10 days out, they did some kind of shift from column C to column A and B. So they moved some of that allotment from like annual pass holders over to theme park only guests or resort guests. And I feel like the majority of it was going from AP holders to resort guests, because that's your low hanging money fruit.
Right.
And then someone that's just buying a one-way ticket. So I'm optimistic for people that are trying to travel in early April, that within the next week or so, I think we're going to see extended hours, and I think we're going to see some shifting and capacity changes on some park tickets.
I hope so.
Because I sure would love to see Epcot stay open especially on the weekends, and with a festival going. Epcot closing at 7 is so dumb.
It's so early.
It's so early, especially when it doesn't open until 11. I absolutely love Epcot not opening until 11. I think that's great for someone like me that's not at 4:45 in the morning, wake up and go get them and be at the park at 7 and let's crush every e-ticket ride before 8:30. That's not my park style. The 11 a.m. is perfect because I can get up and I can go have brunch and I can be there at like 11:30 and it's still not super crowded. So I don't mind the 11 a.m. park opening time. I think I'm the only member of the Crescent Lake Club that feels this way, and that's fine. It's okay. Everyone else is wrong, but it's okay. But I still feel like if you're going to open at 11, stay open until 9.
Especially, again, back to the dining availability, because there are so many restaurants and so much dining in Epcot. With all of those options closing at at 7, if you're a late eater or want a snack before you go to bed or want your 4th meal, and all of that's closing at 7, or 6th meal, whatever the case may be, that's rough. That's rough for all of that to be closing at 7.
Yeah, and it's like for us, it's right now Epcot is closing we're there on a Saturday. We have Wine Bar George brunch, and then we're gonna go drink around the world at Bloom and Booze. And then I wanted to do a fun sit down dinner, and I thought hibachi at Teppanyito sounded like a super fun time, especially after we've been drinking and sampling and stuff like that. It's stuff where we can kind of share a little bit of food around with everybody, and we get the fun experience. We all get to sit. We'll probably take over one whole cooking table. But with the park closing at 7, I got the latest reservation I could get, and that's 6:40.
Yeah.
And it's like, ugh, I don't even eat dinner at 6:40 on a normal day.
Right.
Oh, yeah. That's also because I start my day at like 11. I don't eat dinner until like 9, and that drives everyone else crazy. So I do try and be better about that when I travel with people.
Yeah. But
I will have to have snacks in the room because I will get hungry at like 11 at night again. That's what I hope. I'm hoping that Go ahead.
That they switch some of that around and open up some availability for people who are spending. Again, I know annual pass holders are spending money in the park, and I know that they spent the money on the annual pass. I'm an annual pass holder myself, so like I get it. But I also know people who are traveling or who are wanting to travel, who are wanting to book a trip for Easter or early April and just can't. I mean, I would not tell anyone to book a trip if you don't have one booked already for March or April.
And so I think it's going to be a really interesting litmus test of what occurs at Disney World going forward in the next few weeks or months, with Disneyland having completely scrapped their annual pass holder program and are just about to rebuild it from the ground up. I know a lot of the locals that went just came in right for parade, fireworks, Fantasmic, World of Color. And so what you're used to at Walt Disney World is everyone leaves the parks to go to the resort to have dinner or whatnot. That's when Disneyland just gets crazy packed out, especially on the weekends, is when the sun starts going down, and they just go, especially when there's a night parade, that's when the blankets come out, and they've already staked out all the spots to watch Main Street Electric Parade or Paint the Night or whatever is going on. So I think they're going to watch kind of what is happening with the park reservation system. They obviously have so much data from Walt Disney World at this point on how that's going.
Right.
And what AP are doing. I wouldn't be surprised if they started at California and they do kind of they already had it with the Flex Pass, which is the annual pass I had at Disneyland, where you had to make reservations. And so I think that's going to be required. And I think there are going to be certain tiers of annual passes where you can only make X amount of reservations for X amount of days. I think blackouts are going to be crazy. I'm shocked that there's only like a week to 10 days total blacked out right now in the spring for silver and gold passes.
Yeah.
Disney World.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm back.
Having some technical difficulties with Keeli, but yeah, she's saying that there's not a lot of.
So I think, and then when it opens back up, nobody is going. It's just straight green for annual pass. Am I back again?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, there's not Texas. Can't get out of here fast enough. But yeah, so I think that's what we're going to see. I think I'm really, really optimistic though. And I hope we see it in the next, I think a week. I think a week is pretty fair. I think we're going to see hours pushed back for parks, especially through Easter and the week after Easter. And I think we're going to see capacity shifted. And I'm going to be ready to work as a team with Courtney to make sure all of her people get the park passes they need.
And
that's what the Crescent Lake Club is here for. We work to do all.
Like DeSantis has said they can open up 100%. I know Disney's not going to do that, but hasn't he said he has the governor of Florida has no restrictions on park capacity? I believe that's the case. So all of these restrictions are self-imposed by Disney at this point in terms of capacity, which I appreciate. I'm not complaining.
I think all of the theme parks are kind of. Did I disappear again?
You cut out a little bit.
Okay. I think all of the theme parks are kind of going in lockstep with each other, and they're sliding their capacity around because they can say this is 35%. This is 35% of every body allowed on property according to the fire marshal. It's not just this park. They're fudging the rules a little bit, but I think SeaWorld and Universal and Legoland and Busch Gardens, all of them are kind of working together. That's like, okay, we're going back to the same group of people for a lot of things, or they're going to both of us. Let's keep these in place and start just kind of expanding it this way so nobody really takes notice. And nobody takes like the social media or the word of mouth hit or not hit of, well, Universal's 100% and I don't have to wear a mask. Oh, well, SeaWorld is letting you do this. They're all just trying to take the same concerted effort to do the same kind of thing. And I think, they're fudging the numbers and letting more people in by just still hiding behind this. It's just 35%. Yeah, 35% of what? Every hotel room on property, every restaurant included, every store, every cast building that's not in operation. That makes your 35% of 1 million is a lot bigger than 35% of 60,000. So, I think that's what we're seeing. I do think we should be on the lookout for nighttime shows, specifically Phantasmic, because there were permits filed for work to be done in the backstage cast area and like the moat around Phantasmic. And there's a reason why they haven't opened that area up as kind of like a take your mask off seating area or just as something to increase capacity. So I'm optimistic that we may see announcements about that come the summer.
Yeah. That's a huge amphitheater.
Animal Kingdom that's easy to space out. You just do those stickers on the benches. It's really easy. It's not that hard. We've all been doing this for a year. If we can't figure out if you can't now just see what 6 feet is and just kind of tell what 6 feet is, it's a person laying sideways on a bench. That's what 6 feet is. Yeah. Come on, people. Don't you want things to go back to normal? But
I do.
I don't think we have any promos to talk about yet.
No new promos.
There's still one more. There's still like 1 week or so left in the. There's still like 1 week or so left in the 30 to 40% off.
Yeah. Again, I would not recommend that to anyone right now. I think if you're wanting to go and you don't already have something booked for March or April or early April and you want to go soon, I've always loved going at the end of May. New Orleans, we get out a little bit earlier than Florida. And so that last week of May, first week of June has always been really nice, crowd wise. But yeah, June and July, you can still get even August, you can still get some discounted rooms. So let us know if you're interested.
Yeah, and
for Walt Disney World.
I'm hoping we'll see more promos for summer into early fall. I imagine there's going to be one last big push for discounted rooms, maybe with like a ticket offering right before the 50th. I think the only other thing we didn't talk about was Blizzard Beach reopened, and it's operating with similar protocols to Volcano Bay over at Universal. You don't have to wear a mask on a ride or in the wave pool or anything. You just have to wear it in common areas like a restaurant or a gift shop or the locker room. But it seems like people are happy that water park life is back at Disney. So hopefully we'll see Typhoon Lagoon open up soon, and that will bring more people in.
Bring more people, yeah.
Just in general. So, and give you another option to do if you can't get a park reservation. I still think it's got to be soon. They got to start moving stuff around for April. Well, I think that's it for us. That's Wind Down Wednesday. Courtney and I, have a cocktail or a mocktail, and we chat what's going on at Disney and travel related stuff at Disney every Wednesday here on YouTube and Twitch at 8 o'clock Central Time. So if you're watching us on Twitch, hit that purple follow button. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, and so you never miss when we go live. Tomorrow night, Ryan and I are doing a special happiest hour stream, and we're going to dive into some more news from the shareholders call. Ryan's been working his sources, and he's got a little bit more in-depth stuff, and he'll have some rumors and things to share with us. Also, all of his Teetsa's takes and hot opinions on all of this news. And then the whole gang is back on Sunday for Sunday Fun Day live, and that's at 1 o'clock Central Time. I think we are going to basically talk flower and garden and break down some food. And, well, I mentioned it on Monday's stream. We've got This Week in Lopez Brothers is going down. But also, I'm going to lay out a March challenge that we're going to do called Mouse Madness. We're going to do a fun little bracket. And we're going to include you guys. So you pick the winners each week, but I'll go into more of that on Sunday. And then Ryan and I are back for Marvel Monday, and we are reviewing Iron Man.
I literally never seen a Marvel movie.
Did you see my wig on Monday? More wig for Captain Marvel. I wear a mask because Iron Man is my least favorite Marvel character. But we'll be back for Marvel Monday, and that's at 8 p.m. as well. So again, thank you guys for joining us tonight. Don't forget to hit the purple follow button on Twitch or subscribe and hit that bell for notifications on YouTube. We have a lot of fun stuff coming up, and we also are going to be making plans to go live a couple of times and also bring you some exclusive content from our Keelsapalooza 21st birthday trip in April, which is only how many days away?
I think it's 31 or 32. I haven't checked today.
It was 30. I think it was 33
oh, it's 30.
Sundays.
30.
Yes!
30.
We made it. We made it.
Yes.
Woo!
It's basically 29 because it's 9 o'clock at night, so it's my bedtime.
Yeah, it's basically day already.
Old lady's bedtime.
I'm so excited. I'm ready to start packing. Not at this house. I'm doing too much packing of the unfun kind. So I'm ready to get home, back to all my stuff, and do fun packing. But we're going to have so much fun. I'm so excited. I'm so looking forward to this trip. It's also going to be the first time that the whole gang is together in the same place, not just since COVID, but in general.
And,
so
yeah.
There will be hijinks for sure, but it's going to be a really, really fun time. I'm just looking forward to being back there. I cannot wait for Boathouse Brunch. Cannot wait.
I know.
I was just thinking about that today. Boathouse Brunch. So. And then,
I still have a costume outfit to put together.
You do have an outfit to put together.
So
Can't wait to see how this goes. Yeah. If Sophie missed our Sunday stream, there was a terrible wheel involved. But at the end of the day, the Wheel of Fortune game kind of went out. The wheel was the hitch. Once we ditched the wheel, it all worked out.
Yes.
Courtney was the overall winner, so she gets to pick what we wear for one day. So that's going to be amazing. But we also have challenge cards. Angela has 2, Leslie has 2, Whitty has 1 to make certain members of the Crescent Lake, by certain members, I mean one specific member of the Crescent Lake Club, will be performing challenges during our trip that are sure to both make us laugh and everyone around us.
Yep.
So it's going to be so fun. I'm so ready.
Quality content coming your way.
So much quality. And that's why you need to hit the purple follow button on Twitch and subscribe on YouTube and hit that bell notification so you get alerts every time we go live. Because especially when we get to Florida, you will have no idea when we may just
pop
on and show you something really special that you didn't know you needed in your life right then. So again, that's what our week is coming up. Don't forget to check out our
website, crescentlakeclub.com.
blog, and that's crescentlakeclub.com. We've got a lot of great stuff on there. We've got more content coming. Crescentlakeclub.com, our website.
I think your internet's tired, Keeli. I think it's time to call it a night.
From my truck on Sunday. I may be